All right, let's cut the crap. We're not here to talk about your feelings. We're here to talk about power. The kind of raw, undeniable power that comes from one simple, brutal word you're probably too afraid to use.
Let's get one thing straight from the jump. This isn't some inspirational quote for your coffee mug. It's the law of the universe. You think power is about telling other people what to do? Pathetic. It starts and ends with telling yourself what to do. If you can't even manage that, you're not a leader, you're a joke. Now, let's talk about that little idea you cherish so much, your freedom. Well, I'm here to tell you it's the biggest lie you've ever bought into. And we're about to rip it to shreds. Look at this. On the left, that's the fantasy they sold you. Freedom is doing whatever I want. Cute. But the reality? That's on the right. What you call freedom is actually slavery. You're a slave to every cheap craving, every mindless distraction, every dumb impulse that pops into your head. You're not the captain of your ship. You're just a piece of driftwood being tossed around by the waves. That's not freedom. It's a prison you built for yourself, one weak yes at a time. So if you're not free, what are you? You're a willing participant in your own downfall. Let's get specific. Let's look at the poisons you happily swallow every single day. This isn't a suggestion box, it's your rap sheet. Let's just take one, distractions. The little lie you whisper to yourself is, oh, I'm just relaxing. But what's the cold, hard reality? Your focus is shattered, your potential, the one thing you have, is bleeding out and dying. And don't you dare blame anyone else. You're the one holding the goddamn spoon.
Think of your life as a high-performance vehicle. Every time you give in to a weakness, every time you say yes when you should say no, it's not a little fender bender. It's you consciously grabbing the steering wheel and yanking it directly into a head-on collision. Saying no isn't about restriction. It's the damn evasive maneuver that keeps you from becoming a wreck on the side of the highway. Okay, so we've established the problem. You're a slave to yes. Now, for the solution. And it's so simple, it's almost insulting. It's a one-word revolution that flips the entire board. Pay attention. The secret isn't about working harder or adding a million new rules to your already pathetic life. It's about changing the default setting, the factory setting of your entire mind. This is it. This is the entire game. On the left, you've got the follower script. Their default is yes. Everything is an option until they find some excuse to say no. On the right, that's the leader script. The default is no. Everything is forbidden. Every single yes has to be earned. It has to fight. It has to prove its worth. You stop justifying your no and start demanding justification for any yes. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about depriving yourself like some kind of monk. It's the opposite. It's liberation. You are freeing yourself from the tyranny of your own stupid impulses. So that when you finally do grant a yes, it's not a sign of weakness. It's an act of power. A conscious, deliberate choice. A philosophy is just hot air without a code of action. So let's turn this idea into a weapon. These aren't friendly suggestions. These are the laws you will use to build your own empire of self-control. Your empire rests on 4 pillars: time, food, attention, speech. Why these 4? Because they are the gates to your kingdom. It's what comes in and what goes out. If you control these, you control everything. A default no in these 4 areas is the bedrock of all personal power, period. So here's how you do it. Stop being a subject in your own life and become the king. Step 1, identify your weaknesses and do it without mercy. Stop making excuses. Step 2, define the law, a clear, unbreakable rule to crush that weakness. Step 3, write it down, make it real. And step 4, enforce your own law, relentlessly, no days off. So you've got the philosophy, you've got the laws. What's the end game? What's the point of all this? Let's talk about the transformation. See, the follower, the useful idiot, says yes to everything. They think they're being nice or open-minded. In reality, they're just a doormat. Their life isn't a plan. It's a series of chaotic reactions to whatever loud noise or shiny object crosses their path. But the leader, the leader is an architect. Their default, no, is the fortress wall that protects their time, their energy, their focus. And their yes, it's rare. It's a carefully placed cornerstone in the cathedral they're building.
And because it's rare, because it's earned, it has weight. It commands respect. You see, in a world of constant storms, of noise and chaos, most people are just garbage floating in the ocean, tossed around by forces they don't understand. But the person who has mastered no, they don't just survive the storm. They become the lighthouse, a fixed, powerful beacon of light that cuts through the darkness, guiding others simply by refusing to be moved.
So, it all comes down to this. The choice starts right now with your very next decision. Are you going to continue being the follower, the doormat whose yes is worthless because you give it to everybody? Or are you finally ready to say no? Are you ready to build an empire instead of being a slave in someone else's? The choice is yours.